Welcome, we are back with another episode of Zero to Hero, Healer Edition. I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The good news is the content is fully up to date now. The clips you've been watching so far was filmed over a month ago. The bad news though is that I'm terrible again. Not gonna go into my personal life because that's not what the channel is about, but let's just say I've not played in over a month. Honestly, I didn't expect people to enjoy this class so much. It's been popping off and I'm really grateful for that. I've also finally put your tips into action, setting up a feather macro and getting this weak aura for my PI. Enough of the yapping, let's kick things off with a 7 workshop. This is the last dungeon you'll see that was filmed over a month ago, but the next couple are all fresh, I promise. Honestly, this dungeon I actually felt like a healer. Everything was going smooth, the healing was about to be dished out, and then poof, instant death. Now, I normally brag about having 200 MS, but sometimes I go back to being an average Joe, and instead of reacting to my teammates dying, I just sit back and watch them slowly die a painful death. But when I'm in the thick of it, I'm just on fire. Every ability is going out, except for my shield ability. I was hoping no one would catch on, but sadly, someone did notice. And I know what you're gonna say, stop being a But it just goes back to when I played Mistweaver. My renewing mist uptime was just awful, even though it was one of my main abilities. This is something I'm gonna improve on, but not in this episode. Maybe in the next? Who knows? Cujo was a lot easier this time. I just wasn't getting cooked by the broken arse line of sight. The only other death that happened was during the maze bit. Me and the tank kept failing, and I guess our paladin grew a little bit impatient and decided to try and take on the pack by himself. Let's just say it didn't succeed. I also finally had my true god tier healer moment on the third boss. Both of my DPS ended up getting tagged by the beam, and I know from personal experience that dot hits like a truck. So I wasted no time sending both my pain subs on them. They both lived and I felt like God himself. Bless up. I know I said there was no more deaths in this dungeon. What can I say? I love to lie, but there was nothing I could do about these deaths. One minute he was alive and the next minute he wasn't. And what the hell can I do when my tank gets yeeted off the map? Yeah, I could have gripped him, but I'm not having talented into that. I also said I wanted to show my talents in this episode. So for you priest mains out there, this is what I'm rocking. Is it good? Is it bad? I have no idea. I just closed my eyes and spam clicked. We ended up living without the tank and closed out the dungeon. We got no loot, but we did have 2 vaults to open. Okay, so I've not played in like a month and a half, so I've got a lot of stuff to catch up on. This was the perfect welcome back dungeon, getting thrown into a 7 with some heavily undergeared dudes. My only saving grace was this warlock, but even if he pumped, I still had to heal, and getting thrown into Floodgate on my very first one was not ideal. As you can tell by the first pull, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. My positioning was bad, and I forgot half my buttons. But I didn't die, and that's the main thing. Yeah, we may have lost a teammate, but that dude is 624 eye level, and an Auguvoker, so who actually cares? The only hard part about this dungeon was the bosses. They was long, and my teammate could not dodge a giant ball for the life of him. I was fine in the jump start phase, but once that was over, the real dead mechanic was back. The giant arse ball. The first boss was down and things were going good. Then we got to the architects. Flying over to the next area, I was thinking, okay, I'm assuming this is going to be a double pull, because this guy likes to go big or go home. But what I didn't expect was for this dude to straight up aggro the architect without even knocking him down first. Then he jumped straight into the other pack. Now, this maybe could have been fine, but when the Kelp boys came in and gratted F1 down, I was just left in pure confusion.
That was a dreadful pull. What the fuck was that? How the hell did the Kelps pull? What the fuck was that? We gotta kill the... What?
Now the easy part is out the way, let's get to the hard part. The second boss was a pain in the ass. Because the dot does so much damage and these dudes are so heavily undergeared, I basically have no time to react before they instantly die. It was good when the second dude died because I knew for sure we would have it in the bag. Yeah, it may have taken a bit longer, but it was way easier to heal. The swamp boss for me was the hard part of the dungeon. My healing output just wasn't enough during the splishy wacky whack phase, so we lost one of our DPS. This also meant I got the chain mechanic, which I completely forgot about, so naturally when it came out I moved to my little safe area, completely forgetting I'm now a victim and need to move with my team, so bam, the first wipe was on me.
Closer to that side.
The second try was just pure agony. I'm just gonna let the clip roll so you can judge my amazing healing. Yeah, I know I didn't use my shield enough, but can someone at least tell me what the number means above the ability? We tried to make up for time and skip bubbles, but as expected, it didn't go that well. The final boss wasn't so bad for me. I know the damage pattern because after so many failed attempts I did on the very first episode. I was also slowly getting used to my buttons again, so muscle memory kicked in a bit. We didn't time this key, but it's a nice way to kick off the return to healing.
Easy. Wasn't even hard.
Stop the cap.
That was fucking solid. Ugh, hated every moment of it.
Healing 630 and 624 eye level people when they're barely doing half my damage. Well, just over half my damage is completely insane. When there's a lot of stuff going on and I need to like get in the correct position, I'm just not locked in. I've not played a video game for a month and a half. So my just spatial awareness, I guess, is terrible. Being in the right spot is a really slept on thing. Making sure you position correctly can be a massive game changer. It can be used to line of sight abilities or make it so you can avoid spells so you have max uptime on your abilities. What's also a slept on thing is pulling like a normal human being. Like, the pulls I see in these dungeons are just unbelievable. You seriously don't need to pull like a madman in S6. We all make mistakes though, just like me during the second boss. I completely missed the tornado. It didn't help my case that I was the one who marked the spot too.
Are you stupid or something?
But it's fine, because as long as the tank don't panic and walk out of melee, you can easily heal this. Now, it's time for the Candle King, and I'm not gonna lie, I was shitting bricks. This boss requires some big heals, and the healing was good, but for some reason the boss kept targeting the only person who had no clue how to aim the axe. You'd think he'd learn by the third time, but nah, he was still getting yeeted. It didn't really matter though, because the heals were still being pumped out, but at least he figured out how to aim the axe by the end of it.
But he went on, the only person he went on is a guy who didn't know how to do the mechanic.
The rest of the dungeon was pretty straightforward, so we easily two-chested it. It was a new week, so we had another vault to open. We picked up our gloves and turned them into a set piece. But now, it's back to my worst dungeon to heal, a goddamn Cinderbrew. And straight away, I got flamed, despite no one dying and pumping out big heals. I still don't have a clue what I'm doing wrong on this first boss. No matter what I do, I still feel like I'm a victim. This new week also meant this annoying ass affix is back. It just comes in at the worst possible time. I managed to get it off my teammates, but because everyone is spread out, I never get the chance to use my mass dispel. I know there's a few classes that can dispel themselves, but I have no idea which ones can actually do it. Despite being a victim on the first boss, I didn't officially become one until we got to the next area. I don't really know what killed me. A bunch of damage hit me all at once and I just died. My next death again was because my lack of spatial awareness. Planted myself in a bad spot with a terrible camera angle, so once the swirls came down, I couldn't see that I was stood in instant death. The bee boss is becoming easier to heal. I'm still not fully used to healing and doing the bees at the same time, but we are slowly getting there. Sometimes it's just hit or miss if my DPS get the bleed on them. If they do, I need to focus on the heals and pray they do the bees. If no bleed, then we're bing chilling. Now, I'm all for pulling big, but in these sort of keys where not everyone is fully kitted out, there's no point. Even if you can live this pack, doesn't mean everyone else can. You'd think he'd learn and not chain pull once everyone got back, but nah, he charged right on in.
Fucking what? Why are we pulling like this?
We still timed the key with 3 minutes to spare, and I even got a clickbait for my thumbnail, so it wasn't all bad. And even though my healing is not great, we are still timing these keys. But you can't time every key. This takes us to our next dungeon. Now, I'm going to pause it here. When you see Big Pull in the chat, what do you think? Now, I thought it was going to be option A, and I was fully prepared for that, but damn, 2 nights are so hard to heal. My dumb ass ended up getting holy locked because I forgot my penance takes about 2 years to finish. I could have probably healed this, but again, being in panic mode, I didn't fully see where I was standing, stepped on a bear trap, and bled to death. By the time I returned, my tank instantly dipped. Before I knew it, I was hit with the affix, a tank in Narnia, and blessed with the eyesight of Stevie Wonder. And again, I walked into a trap, died, my tank, then gets yeeted, and we wipe. At this point, you'd think, let's take it a bit slower. We've still got a lot of time. But nah, not my tank. He lives life to the fullest. He sees his teammates bleeding to death and thinks, fuck it, let them burn. I want to get smacked in the face. I need to get pounded to death. So yeah, yet again, the affix comes in. I'm in pure confusion. Started getting shot in the face by 4 guns, bit in the ankles by some big cats. We obviously wipe, and instead of just carrying on and taking it slower, my mage instead dips out. 8 workshop.
Calm down.
The scary bit in this dungeon for me is this pull. Overall, it's not too bad. The damage isn't spiky, it's just praying my tank knows what he's doing and doesn't get one banged by the bleed. There can be a nasty overlap if people don't CC the gunk at the right time. If it goes off during the mega drill, that can be a real killer. The healing absorb and the drill damage can get very scary, but as long as I have atonement and spamming my damage abilities, we are usually okay. But this next clip is the example I was talking about. I can heal it, but my tank first needs to live through the gather. I had no pain sups left and he didn't pop brand. And because I didn't set up before the tank, by the time I got there and was ready to go, he was already dead. And again, this just circles back to me not having good positioning. We didn't reset the pack either, so yeah, we wiped again. These dogs are a bit of an issue too. Because they put out a dot on my teammates, it can be hard to manage. I was waiting for an overlap with the dots and the affix so I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but like the idiot I am, I wasted it before going into this next area. So I got overwhelmed with dots and lost one of my DPS. After our little mishap in the last episode, I'm actually used to fighting Cujo now. The only time when there's some serious damage is straight after you dispel the dot on the tank, so as long as you pump right after that, you can easily do this boss. I again struggled on this mini boss, for no real reason really. I just didn't have atonement on anyone, and I never knew if I had enough time in between each blast to pop my AoE to apply atonement to everyone. But in the end, no one died, so it's not really a big deal. I had the same gamer moment when my warrior got hit by the beam. Again, this boss is a breeze, just don't get hit by the objects flying around and you're basically chilling. And as always, as long as you're in this bubble, it's basically impossible to die.
What? That's bullshit.
With the final boss, the magnet pulling is the scary bit, but as long as you're not stood near the magnet, the damage it puts out isn't that crazy. The only scary moment I had to deal with on this boss was near the end, but I just spread my wings and blessed my teammates with my load.
What did he say?
Pause.
We'll end it on a high note. End it on a 2-chested 8, which is decent considering I'm not that good at healing. I want you to leave a comment to see which one is the best, because at the moment it's up against these 3. But I want a trinket where I don't really need to press a button. It's not like an active one, it's just an equipped one. So whatever gives me the best healing and it's the easiest to use, that is the one I should get. So if you could leave a comment telling me which one's best, then that would be great. You heard the man. If you know what's best, let me know. I don't plan on playing this character for ages, so anything that gives me big heals is what I want. If you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.